What's the name?
Willis.
Are you going to charge me for this?
Unfortunately, I have to do all
You have to?
You have to.
How many people have arrived?
We have up to number now. We have 65 in number.
And a plenty of trout.
We have plenty of trout, yeah.
You go to your usual spot.
I'll go to the usual spot. Okay, then.
I've had for sale for you.
Right. I'll see you down there then.
Right, Ollie. All the
Good luck,
best.
Ollie.
Tight line.
At this time every year, a few weeks into spring, anglers from all over the northwest come to this lake called Upper Ruskey. It's up above CREESLOUGH, the village of CREESLOUGH in County Donegal. And anglers make their way down through this moorland, down into a lake which is deeply bedded in these hills. It's a very private lake, but it keeps big brown trout. I'm told that you can get 5 or 6 pounds brown trout out of this lake. Now, I wouldn't hope for that today. I would be very pleased to get a pound and a half trout. But one of the problems with the lake is that it's greatly wooded. It's fringed by woodland, a bit of meadow, and it's difficult for the fly fisher. As well as that, this competition is all about fishing from the bank, not from a boat. So most of the men here today are going to fish bait, and that's what I'm going to do myself. I'm going down now, I'm going to put on a worm. I hope to get to my favourite spot on the far side of the lake and just have a go, take my chance. One of the things about a lake like this is, on this side of the lake, it's very, very deep. And because trout can see much more easily from deep down in the water, they have what's called a cone of vision. Anybody standing up there on the bank is going to be seen by the trout. And especially if people are wearing very bright yellow, red, gaudy kinds of outfits. Now what I'm going to do, or try to do, is I'm going to go down through these bushes, get to the far side of the lake so that I have plenty of growth behind me, and I've deliberately put on clothing that's not going to be outstanding or easily seen by trout, and I'm going to get bushes and trees all about me and a nice shaded place, and maybe I'll have a bit more luck. I would hope to have a bit more luck doing that than standing showing my outline to every trout on this side of the lake. The problem here now at the moment is that that kind of a ripple doesn't lend itself to fishing from this corner of the lake. Funnily enough, the lake would fish far, far better for me here on worm if it was still, if the water was still. And another problem is the glare that's on the lake at the moment. The trout just aren't on the take. Nobody seems to be catching trout about the lake. So it's just a matter of being very patient and waiting for a trout to come along.
Fish ran around them just to run around that line.
Well, you've been for a hand, there's nothing there. You'll not get that.
His line's tied on the lines.
So trout took me very, very lightly there. The problem is that it may drop the worm again. So I'm going to take my nets in. Doesn't seem much of a trout. Well, it's not a bad trout. I'll just get the net. Come on, boy. It's not a bad trout. It's a matter now of not letting them be too miserable for too long. So, let's see what we have. This is a resident fish, and whenever his cousins, the sea trout smolts and the salmon, left their birthplaces and went out to the sea to grow big, mature, this character turned bronze, stayed in this lake here called Risky. Of course, we have the great coloration, black spots, brown spots, red spots, and golden body that identifies the brown trout. And I mean, look at that terrific mouth, great muscular trout, great shape, and is going to make very, very good eating. That's a nice trout, but it's only about a pound weight. And I would imagine the best trout here, or the trout's going to take the trophy, will probably 2.5 pounds. I'm going to bag this one and maybe have a go, see if I can get a bigger one. I'm fishing worm here today. I don't normally fish worm, but this corner of the lake is very, very good for stillbait fishing. The bed of the lake here, it's a nice silty bed, and the trout live on the kinds of worms and wee crab-like things, wee shrimp-like things that you get in that type of bed. They also take the insects that would fall off these bushes out here. It's not that the trout don't see this worm in here, because these are resident brown trout. They live in this lake and they cruise about here. So anything that breaks the surface of that water, anything that lands on the bed of this lake, the local trout know about it. And if it would just settle down, if the lake would just settle down a bit, and the glare would go off it, we might have a bit of luck. But the funny thing about resident trout, whenever they take very, very hard. And all of us, you could be sitting here for an hour and not get a touch, and all of a shot they begin to take, and you could get 3 or 4 trout inside a matter of 15, 20 minutes. So just have to keep our fingers crossed and hope that that happens before long. No.
I don't know.
Oh, it's coming now.
What's that in here?
Yo-yo.
That's it. Seems a nice trout. That's a good trout. I just want to take it this one easy. Oh, that's a beauty. Gosh. Couple of pounds in that fella. Let's get up on the bank. That is a good trout. We'll compare that with the previous trout. Come on, Philip. That'll do you. Oh, that's it. That really is a good trout. Look at that. Delighted with that. Me thumping this fish over the head might seem a terrible thing. It might seem very, very cruel, but it's a lovely fish. I had to put the animal out of its misery as soon as possible. That's the whole business of the game. And now and again you'll come across, you'll walk a fishing bag and you'll hear a fish rattling in the bag. That fish hasn't been properly killed. And I think that's a horrible death for an animal. So although it appears cruel, it's a much better thing to put the animal out of its misery immediately.
A couple of pounds on it.
I think a couple of pounds on it, all right. Let me get this. It took it in well. It brought half the lake, was it, of course?
You're not far out there, either.
No.
You're not fishing far out.
No, the thing about there is that the worm comes back.
Or
The bait comes back into you.
just run again.
If you fish very light, but if you fish heavy lead, it just sits there.
That's right.
So if you don't fish lead, you're not supposed to fish lead anyway.
No, that's right.
But if you fish that kind of stuff, then it doesn't give the worm the same kind of movement at all. I mean, look, that there's a pound. There's a pound in it there.
Let's do 2.5, aren't
No, that's a good trout.
It's another trout for us.
Do you think should I pack it in now before I catch anything bigger?
That's what places we.
Yeah.
It's a nice trout now. There's one. How's going on now, boys?
Oh man, not too bad.
Did you get any?
No,
I got a couple of trout there.
Hey.
What do you think of that?
That's it.
very
Lovely.
nice, Ollie, very
What?
nice. To do the lab of its lower gilling.
Do you think that's going to do the trick?
Hey?
Anything over £2
The
goes to
boys,
the bike.
the boys down here objected and they said that it was only for amateurs, this competition, not professionals.
Not for what?
Professionals, I reckon you're a professional.
Oh, I see. Uh-huh. Well, you've got lots of people here.
We have 75 in total.
75?
Yeah.
Very good. And plenty of fish been caught?
Oh, plenty.
Plenty of fish.
Are they good fish?
From about
Pound to quarter.
pound 3/4 to 3/4 of a pound.
Uh-huh. Have you come across a trout as good as that, Millie?
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No. Definitely not.
I suppose I need to pack it in then, so if that's the case.
You're one in so far, Ollie.
Big as that, Ollie?
Let's see. I think it might be tight enough now. You haven't put in it, you haven't stuffed anything down these fish throats.
Oh, no, we'll let you do a post-mortem.
Right. What are we talking about then? Huh? Do you want to weigh out of curiosity just
Yeah.
to see what weight they
Yeah.
are? be abusing it now, I take it.
That's just over the £2.
Just over the £2.
Just over the £2.
Do you want to take the chance of that?
No,
do you want to try yours? I don't want to be leaving you
Of course.
a bit down the mouth, you know, but I'll give you some notion of...
Well, you're a professional. You're barred from a
Not
competition.
at all, I'm not. Were you telling everybody that trout of yours was the best yet?
Oh no.
No.
No. Because
That's,
rumour travels very fast in the lake, Ollie, as you know.
you know, what I'm doing here is
£1.75.
£1.75.
We can see it, Ollie.
Oh, well.
But the day's early yet.
Well, it is early, okay. Well, head on, maybe I'll see you later on. Those sausages look very appetizing, something I'll tell you.
You want to try one?
I wouldn't mind one. Hands are very... You need to reach one.
Yeah, what? Well done. What is the salt?
Yeah, it's just a wee thing. And blood and guts and sausage and salt. Lovely. One of the most taken for granted and one of the loveliest shrubs we have across the countryside is this bush here. Some people call it gorse, others call it the one bush. It's a member of the pea family. It doesn't have foliage, you know, leaves like other shrubs and trees. And probably one of the reasons for that is in some way it's not unlike the cactus plant. It can live quite favourably in shallow and very dry conditions. The leaves on this bush here, the wee tiny leaves, taper to form these very stout thorns. The flower itself has the form of a pea. It's a lovely golden flower, and they bloom from February through to June, and then the landscape loses them again. Later on in the year it's going to host the yellowhammer and the linnet and birds like that. In the meanwhile, it's just here brightening up the countryside for us. A bird of lay, keeping on squawking like this, she's like a whistling woman, unlucky. You're supposed to take her to the nearest crossroads and leave her there, after making the sign of the cross. Now with the snowdrop gone, this little wood sorrel with its white flower and its leaves looking like clover is just beginning to appear. And the lesser celandine with yellow butter flowers, as Wordsworth said, bright as the sun himself, and lovely green heart-shaped leaves is beginning to colour hedgerow and riverbank and damp pasture already. These kinds of dribbles and drains that we see all about us here, this is the seepage off the hill. Sometimes it would be springs rising out of the hill, coming down to replenish the lake, to revive the lake and to maintain its levels. But these drains themselves, they may look awful soggy looking places. Lots of weed life about them, but they do sustain their own wildlife. This drain here, for example, it's just full of frog spawn, masses of jelly-like frog spawn, the eggs of the frogs. Now what happened was about a fortnight ago, frogs came across this marshy ground. They came back to the places where they were born themselves. You know, the notion is that frogs will lay maybe their eggs in any old puddle or any old drain. That doesn't follow. Frogs are a bit like salmon. They come back to the places where they were born themselves. But these frogs here they've been very fortunate because they have a lovely, soggy, well-weeded drain that's going to support their eggs. Now what happened was that the male, he came first. The female frog, she plays a bit hard to get. The male's a wee black fella. The female, she's greenish yellow. She kept the meal waiting for perhaps 2 days, sometimes a week. And then she comes along and she settles herself down, and the male, he jumps on her back, and maybe another male jumps on the back beside him, maybe another male scrambles over him. Indeed, whenever this is all happening, they sound like scrambling bikes. There's a powerful din going on, like motorbikes scrambling up a hillside. But in a matter of seconds, she lays her eggs, maybe 15 to 2,000 eggs. Almost immediately, the males jump off her back, scramble all over the place again, and try to be the first male frog to spray his milk over those eggs, to fertilize those eggs, to bring the eggs to life. And they end up looking like this, a jelly-like mass. And very soon, in a fortnight or so, those tadpoles are going to hatch, and they're going to find this kind of broad-leafed pondweed and the other kinds of weeds and soggy leaf-like vegetation we have in this drain here. Very, very suitable, a very rich harvest, because these are the kinds of leaves that attract tiny snail-like life and tiny insect life, the sort of food stuff that tadpoles thrive upon.
I keep them in the water, Ollie. You'll lose weight if you keep them out of the water.
Have the way in now. Anybody with a fish £2 or over who thinks that they're in for prizes here, have your ticket ready with your name on it. Or gamble weighing exactly £2. D Villa £1 14 ounces. We have T O'Neill, one trout weighing £1 14 ounces. We have Marjorie Carr, weighing exactly £2. With S. Stewart with a fish weighing £2 4 ounces. Anything else? Ollie McGilloway. With one trout weighing £2 6 ounces. We have a result. In third place, we have Or Gamble with 2 fish at £2 weight exactly, and he comes into third position. In second place on £2 4 ounces is S. Stewart. And in first prize with a fine trout weighing £2 6 ounces is Ollie McGilloway. I would like to particularly thank, on behalf of CREESLOUGH District Anglers, first of all the participants.